Wow, that was historic.
And I don't want to say
Mr.
goodbye to
Thorpe.
him.
I know they're all hanging
So
out
hard.
here. Isn't
Yeah.
it cool? Like, do you hang out with these real heroes and you're like, oh, man, I want to go.
Yeah.
Just like, let's just go spend the rest of the day with them.
Yeah, and
wait till you actually
issues.
get to do busts with these guys.
I bet. And talking with David behind the scenes about some problematic issues with Colorado law, how because some of the way, and we're not going to get into it now, but some of the way the laws are written make it much more difficult to charge the drug dealers because of how they're written, that there's a way that if you know how the system works, that you can get your drug dealers off on almost nothing. And that's how it will keep the flow of drugs on the streets. In fact, there's an incentive that David and I were talking about. There's an incentive to put more dealers on the street, not less, because of how the law works. That if you drop 4 or 5 dealers into a park or into a community, that actually provides an umbrella of protection to your dealers based on how the law is written, which is crazy when you think about it. But that's for another day.
Well, that another day may be Thursday. I don't know if you saw this media release, but Advance Colorado has submitted 200,000 signatures around Initiative 85, which is going to toughen penalties for fentanyl manufacturing, distribution, dispensing, sale, or possession. I mean, Michael Fields and George Brockler are part of that, which is very cool. So you may be voting next year. This would be the 2026 election to strengthen opioid stuff. But, I mean, it's just, Bill, you and I debate, and it was very clear during the first hour
of course, that
people pay us to yell at each other and debate.
They do.
When you watch Dave Oleski and Stephen Tubbs and these other guys go make the world safer, you're just like, bro.
Oh, yeah. The idea is this, that you and I,
the heroes,
and I can yell at each other and go, oh, that was a stressful day at work. It's nothing compared to what David Oleski has during a stressful day at work. Not even close. We're not even in the same ballpark, let alone playing the same sport. Not even close. Yeah, those guys, what they are doing day in and day out is incredibly admirable. And what I love the most is they're doing it to keep the streets safe and so that everybody's family comes home at night. It's important.
Amazing.
Yeah,
and
it's incredible.
Look, they're not politicians.
No.
So now I will be the political analyst, which is what I do for a living, and blame the Democrats. There's a reason why the DEA is having major record fentanyl busts in Colorado. It's because we're weak on crime here. Unless you're, of course, Tina Peters, then you're really gonna go to jail. But for the rest of the folks, Colorado, I mean, look, you had a state senator, now Congresswoman, Brittany Pedersen, going, oh, using fentanyl? Let's create a safe place for you to do so. It's ridiculous. These cartels are out to kill Americans. They know exactly what they're doing. This is why the Chinese are sending the chemicals. And it took a tough on crime president like Donald Trump to be able to address these issues. But these records are going to continue to be a problem in Colorado until you guys, listeners, elect a governor who's willing to be tough on these. That's it. All right, we'll continue the debate. Plus, Larry Summers taking a step back from his public roles after the release of the Epstein correspondence. My goodness, will we see more of these? Now is time, though, for News and Comment with Blake Olson.
Blake Olson.
Blake Olson, News and Comment.
Hey, good Tuesday morning. 42 and cloudy in Denver, expecting a high of 61 today. News sponsored by Pastor Camp Heating and Air Conditioning at 303-777-1234 to learn more about special savings opportunities on Lennox equipment. Our top story.
It is also indicative that the Mexican cartels continue to traffic significant quantities of fentanyl to Colorado.
Dave Valesky, the DEA's Rocky Mountain Field Division, says it made the largest seizure of counterfeit pills in state history and the sixth largest single seizure of suspected fentanyl pills in U.S. history. 1.7 million counterfeit fentanyl pills found in a storage facility in Highlands Ranch. Oleski and our old friend Stephen Tubbs, now with the DEA, in studio with Jeff and Billy last hour, and this was huge.
It's one of the cliches. If it can happen there, it can happen anywhere. And I think now, in the weeks and months to follow, let's give a shout out to the Douglas County schools. Let us come as DEA and let us tell your classroom, your community group, your Kiwanis Club, your Rotary, that this is here, and this should be a wake-up call for everybody in Colorado.
So how many lives did the seizure potentially save in Colorado?
Hundreds of thousands. The laboratory testing for DEA, we do regular testing over the years, and at its height, it's gone up to 7 of every 10 pills contains a lethal dose, down to 3 or 4. So the bottom line is you don't know what is inside one of those pills.
Hundreds of thousands. Congratulations to the DEA's Rocky Mountain Field Division, and an awesome job. Great to see Stephen and David keep crushing it. More big news in the days ahead.
It's been on the survivor's shoulders this entire time. The burden, the weight, the threats, the shame. It's our turn to take this load from them. We're looking to our elected officials to do the same.
That's Amanda Roberts from El Paso County. A vote on a measure that would require the DOJ to release all files on Epstein is scheduled for today in the House. 47 has encouraged House Republicans to support the measure. Amanda and Sky Roberts from the Springs are in D.C., and you just heard from Amanda pushing for the measure. Sky's late sister, Virginia Giuffre, was one of Epstein's victims. She has asked Jeff Crank to support the release of the files.
The loss that she's not here to see this moment. It's her advocacy, her bravery, her courage that really brought this story to the forefront.
We won't stop. We genuinely will not stop until we get some sort of justice.
Giuffre allegedly died by suicide in April. Users of a number of several popular websites and apps experiencing issues this morning due to an outage at web security firm Cloudflare. ChatGPT, X, and the video game League of Legends are all seeing issues reported this morning. That may be a good thing for all of us. 47 will welcome Saudi Arabia's crown prince to the White House this morning. Prince Mohammed bin Salman last visited Washington in 2018. The two are expected to discuss a number of issues, from AI chips to nuclear technology to the potential normalization of ties with Israel. National Guard troops being temporarily ordered to pull out of Memphis by a Nashville judge. Of course. The ruling stated that Governor Bill Lee can only activate the Guard in cases of rebellion or invasion, and only with approval from the General Assembly. The judge noted there was no clear record showing Lee issued an official deployment order. So they want more crime back in Memphis. Nuggets fall to the Bulls 130 to 127 last night in Lodo. Nikola Jokic, another triple-double, 36 points, 18 rebounds, 13 assists in the loss. Jamal Murray, 34 points, 11 boards for Denver. The loss snapped a 7-game win streak for the Nugs, now 10-3 this season. The Cowboys over the Raiders last night in Monday Night Football. 41 in Parker, 40 in Westminster, 42 in Denver. You are waking up with Jeff and Bill on a Tuesday morning. Blake Olson, News Talk 710 KNUS.
The system that came through yesterday is off to the east, so it'll be partly cloudy. Temperatures are going to be hovering around the 50s to lower 60s for the next 3 days, at least for today and tomorrow. Lower 50s on Thursday. Today and Wednesday will be a mix of clouds, sun, and dry conditions. Lows tonight, lows tomorrow night will be in the lower to mid-30s. Now, late Thursday night into Friday morning, chance of rain and snow shower activity as a small storm system will be passing through eastern Colorado here at the end of the week. Meteorologist Don Day in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
Fox News reporting Larry Summers stepping back from public roles after House release of Epstein correspondence. Larry Summers, the former president of Harvard University. By the way, the only time I've ever really interacted with anything associated with Larry Summers was the movie The Social Network, where he's just portrayed so poorly.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, that's about me too.
It's just a big old jerk. Former president of Harvard has announced that he will step back from public commitments, according to the Ivy League's college student newspaper. In a statement released Monday to the Harvard Crimson, Summers said it was part of an effort to rebuild trust and repair relationships with the people closest to me. What? Weird. I mean, if you're hanging around with a convicted pedophile, I think you have to do a little bit more than step away from your public commitments to rebuild trust and repair relationships. But the announcement follows the release of 7 years' worth of correspondence between Summers and the disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein by the U.S. House Committee on Oversight and Government Reform. The documents showed the two men continued to exchange messages as late as July 5th of 2019, which was just 1 day before Epstein's arrest on new sex trafficking charges. In the hundreds of messages released, Summers also appeared to place trust in Epstein and confided in him about his pursuit of a romantic relationship with a woman he described as a mentee. Good night. Among the released messages was one from November 2018 in which Epstein describes himself as Summers' wingman as he continued advising Summers on the relationship for months. I'm deeply ashamed of my actions and recognize the pain they have caused, Summers wrote in a statement to the Crimson. I take full responsibility for my misguided decision to continue communicating with Mr. Epstein. Summers holds several roles in his professional life. He's a senior fellow with the think tank Center for American Progress, a paid columnist with Bloomberg News, and a board member at OpenAI. He also remains a university professor at Harvard and serves as the director of the Center for Business and Government at the Harvard Kennedy School, which he will continue to oversee. His spokesman said, according to the outlet. In Monday's statement, the former Harvard president added, while continuing to fulfill my teaching obligations, I'll be stepping back from public commitments as one part of my broader effort. Whoa. What do you make of that, Bill? There's a lot there.
Yeah, I don't know. This is a weird one because it, in part, at least in my mind, shows why nobody in power really wants anything connected to the Epstein files released. And this is regardless of political party. Because it sure does appear that even after he was charged, not once but twice, lots of powerful people still had sometimes some very intimate communications with him and a really, really friendly relationship. And I think that's part of the issue. And I also would say that's part of the issue why the rest of America wants to see the list. Because I'm still going back to what the Brits did with Prince Andrew. They went, wait, you said you stopped talking to him. Now you're talking to him. Okay, that's it. Get out of the royal family. I think there does need to be somewhat of a reckoning for these people's behavior. And I don't think that what Larry's going through is necessarily going to be enough. But yes, there should absolutely be public shame on the guy that continued to chat with Jeffrey Epstein and went so far as to, basically ask for tips on hitting on a mentee. Someone that it's supposed to be a relationship of trust.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Dude,
this person is going to Epstein talking about this type of a relationship.
What does this say about Harvard? This was the guy who's the president of Harvard. Now he overs the Kennedy School of Business or Kennedy School of Government's business wing.
Yeah.
Teaches and was the president of Harvard and is corresponding with Jeffrey Epstein about how to hit on a mentee.
See, I think in those Ivy League colleges, I do firmly believe that many times the president, the guy in charge of the school, gets that job not based on merit, but based on friendship, based on who around the group that is voting likes them enough and has gone golfing or yachting or fishing or fly fishing or to Malaysia or whatever it is enough times with them. I think that at that level, that's how those people are chosen, because I don't necessarily always see this, vast search for the most qualified candidate. I think when you get to that level, qualifications become somewhat muted. It's more about who your relationships are. And that's why I want to see all this stuff, because this is about relationships. And I think it's important inside the Epstein files, and we'll go back and forth as some of them are going to be released, as far as people that are going to be implicated in possible abuse and molestation versus people that are implicated on just being friends. However, after Epstein is brought up on the second set of charges, continuing to be friends with them should call anyone's judgment into question, depending on what type of conversations you had with him, how often you corresponded with him, and what you were talking about. I would say, if you're someone like a Larry Summers, that after he is charged the second time, you continue correspondence and ask about hitting on someone you are mentoring. Yeah, I think that we deserve to know you're that much of a creeper. I think it's good. Yeah. And I wish there would be more fallout.
Harvard should end its relationship with Larry
absolutely.
Summers?
Yeah, absolutely they should. Yeah, 110%. Yes. This should not be okay, because the problem I would have is if you're, and again, I don't know the Harvard Code of Conduct, but I'm guessing that in any situation where someone that is in a mentoring or supervisory role and has a relationship with someone that is, for awkward purposes, underneath them, that is going to be looked at, and they're going to go up and they're going to go, but Larry, you're doing the same thing, man. I just was doing what you were doing. And so that's the part for me, is that he has eroded his ability to basically be the decision maker on that level at the school. In other words, if you're a professor at Harvard, all those students, that's open season. If you're a coach at Harvard, all those students, that's open season. If you're a doctor at Harvard, all those students, that's open season. That's what Larry Summers' behavior is telling you. That's why he has to go, in my mind.
Here's the Harvard Crimson. As Summers sought clandestine relationship with a woman he called a mentee, Epstein was his, quote, wingman. When former Harvard president Lawrence Summers was pursuing a romantic relationship with a woman he described as a mentee, he sought guidance from convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Holy cow. In a sequence of texts and emails between November of 2018 and July of 2019, Summers turned to Epstein for advice on his pursuit of the woman. Epstein was quick to chime in with assurance and suggestion, describing himself in one November 2018 message as Summers' wingman. Let's see, Summers, who had been married since 2005, told Epstein he thought the woman was reluctant to leave him because she valued his professional connections. Epstein told him in one June 2019 text, "She is doomed to be with you. Think for now I'm going nowhere with her except economics. Mentor," Summers wrote in 2018. "I think I'm right now in the scene very warmly in her rear view mirror category. She must be very confused or maybe wants to cut me off, but wants professional connections a lot, and she holds to it, Summers wrote in 2019, explaining why he believed she continues to engage with him despite tensions. So he was married, and this is a different woman.
Oh, that's great. Good.
In at least some of his exchanges with Epstein's on the relationship, Summers appears to refer to macroeconomist Kiyu Jin, 04, a tenured professor at the London School of Economics, who is mentioned in a series of late 2018 messages between the two men. In one, Summers forwarded Epstein an email from Jin asking for feedback on a paper. Summer mused to Epstein that it was, quote, probably appropriate, unquote, to hold off on responding. She's really beginning to sound needy. Nice, Epstein replied.
Jeez. And I did just, hit the Google box. Yeah, he was married at the time. So that's the other part inside of this, is that married, and his friend, who also knows he's married, is helping him facilitate chasing down the other girl. And you can see that part of what Epstein is looking at least from your correspondence there, is a sort of emotional manipulation.
Yeah.
That's the other part that's really disturbing here. And so again, if Larry Summers continues to run Harvard, evidently now professors, coaches, staff, emotional manipulation is on the table. If you're an RA inside the dorms, you can now emotionally manipulate any of those kids underneath you. That's okay, especially if you want to see them naked. Aren't I right, Larry Summers? Isn't that the point here? Isn't that what you wanted to do in order to manipulate that woman? The point was to get her naked.
Kiyu Jin is a 43-year-old born in Beijing, China, educated at Harvard, and now is affiliated with the London School of Economics. Oof. I mean, could you imagine being this poor woman?
Oh, yeah.
She's just trying to advance her career in this creep. And now, because of this creep's connection with Jeffrey Epstein, now your name's everywhere. And what did she do?
I know. It's like the other woman in the killer dentist trial. Same thing where, right. Again. But this one also, what I think is even more harmful is we have no information or any correspondence that the target of Larry's affection is reciprocal. It doesn't seem so far in the conversations that anything romantic develops while he's emotionally manipulating her, which to me is a little bit different, just a little bit than the killer dentist who goes down and finds a woman that is open to a romantic relationship and then lies about it. Here's one where he's absolutely trying to foster a romantic relationship, and we have no indications at all that the other woman is interested. And two, this is really important, this isn't just him going to a conference and finding someone. This is someone that came to him and asked to be a mentee, or that he sought out as a mentor, which makes it even super creepy then. Because then we have to ask, was he doing this out of concern for her professional career, or was it more because he wanted to see her naked? That's kind of the thing here, is how did this happen, and how horrible is this for the woman if she's the one that came to him and asked for help, to then find out that basically she becomes objectified and a source of his fantasies and distractions? That's just, there's so many layers to this. It's just creepy.
This is from the Harvard Crimson. Throughout the 7 months of correspondence reviewed by the Crimson, Summers and Epstein referred to the woman Summers was pursuing in some messages by the code name Peril, P-E-R-I-L, right? That would be Peril.
Yeah.
But never used her name in messages directly describing the relationship. On at least 2 occasions, the two men discussed Jin's emails to Summers, which he had forwarded to Epstein. This is so weird.
Geez.
In later messages, the two men appeared to joke about the probability that Summers would have sex with the woman, apparently Jin.
That's great. That's wonderful. Again, this is the woman that he is supposed to be mentoring, and he and his friends are talking about whether or not he's going to get busy with her. That's the focus of the relationship in this conversation. And it's just, there are layers of just disgust here.
In an October 2017 email to Epstein, Summers retread the same terrain that had proven treacherous for him in the past, writing that he had observed that half the IQ in the world was possessed by women, without mentioning they are more than 51% of the population. Summers had continued to teach at Harvard since, interrupted by brief stints in Washington, and currently holds Harvard's highest faculty distinction as a university professor. This semester, he is teaching 2 large undergraduate courses and 1 graduate courses. The first interaction between Summers and Epstein on his relationship with the woman, apparently Jen, appeared in late November and early December 2018 when he and Summers seemed to have met during an academic conference. For 2 days, Summers sent Epstein updates on his interactions with her. On December 1st, Summers wrote that the woman had been interested in my commentary on her outfit and said that he had referenced you having figured us out, suggesting Summers told her that Epstein was aware of their relationship. This is just weird.
That's really weird.
And he currently teaches right now. Wow.
That's
we'll cover
creepy.
more of this
Yeah.
and get your phone calls and texts. Gabe texting in wood chipper for all involved in the Epstein crap. The wood chipper doesn't care about your race or political party. This is going to be wild. Maybe Marty was right. This next week was going to change everything.
Well, let's see what happens.
We'll have to see. Join the conversation. 303-696-1971. Text us on the Dan Caplis Law text line at 720-819-5115. Let's talk the incredible savings at Mountain High Appliance Clearance Center in Denver. Their clearance center offers a huge selection of ranges, refrigerators, washers, dryers, and more. Save up to 60% on open box, scratch, and dent display models and overstocked appliances from Bosch, Thermador, KitchenAid, and many more. When you're looking for great deals on appliances, think Mountain High Appliance Clearance Center for the best prices and selection. 601 East 64th Avenue in Denver, 601 East 64th Avenue in Denver. Well, at least in the midst of all this creepiness, he's taking steps away from his public commitments. I'd almost feel more comfortable him taking steps away from everything. As you mentioned, leaving him.
Yeah.
Oh, what are we doing? Oh, we're leaving Larry Summers with the students.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
I know. And how do you bring him into your organization or anything now? Yeah.
All right, we'll continue. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Leader News Talk 710 KNUS.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. The Harvard Crimson going through a detailed analysis of Larry Summers' email with this woman he was pursuing who's from Beijing. She's an economist over at the London School of Economics. Larry Summers now taking a step back from his public commitments. Dude is totally a creeper. All right, this was the former president of Harvard. I think he was also the Secretary of Treasury at one point.
Yeah, he was, yeah.
All right, so listen to this. On December 1st, Summers wrote that, this is, by the way, to Jeffrey Epstein, okay? Wrote that the woman had been interested in my commentary on her outfits. Summers described his feelings as conflicted in the message to Epstein, writing in remarkably candid terms. When I'm reflective, I think I'm dodging a bullet, he wrote. Think right thing is to cut off contact. Suspect she will miss it. Problem is, I will too. The next morning, Summers struck a different tone. Game day at conference. She was extremely good, smart, assertive, and clearly gorgeous. I'm effed, he writes. Not with F. He writes it all out. In a message later that month, Summers and Epstein discussed Summers' relationship with Jin's father, a former high-ranking Chinese Communist Party official and the founding president of the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, who Summers had long been close with. When Jin emailed Summers on December 22nd to thank him for his support of her and her father, minutes after she sent Summers an outline of an academic paper, Summers forwarded the exchange to Epstein, explaining that he had recently sent a comment in a meeting with her father, flattering her father and saying other Chinese officials had flattered him as well. Summers continued in detail his interactions with this woman who appeared to be Jin, but is not named in the Epstein emails, after December 2018 throughout March 2019, now expressing frustration that she was canceling or shortening plans and appeared to be interested in another man. I think she is tired of this, alas. Sustaining with secrecy is hard, Larry Summers wrote in a message to Jeffrey Epstein.
Now, as you're reading those, I'm hoping that the Jeff and Bill audience was kind of going through the same thing that I was thinking. And the big question that kept popping up in my mind is, how old are you?
Yeah.
This sounds like something like middle school and high school. This is something that happened to me with my friends who the friend is interested in another girl and they don't know if the girl likes them. And so your friend calls you and recants all the interactions they had with the girl over the previous 48 hours. Do you think, does she like me? Did I do this right? Did I not? What about this? And then, oh my gosh, back in the day, of course, we didn't have cell phones and stuff. If they wrote notes back and forth, then your friend had to come over and he had to see the notes. And look, do you think that she dotted that I with a heart? Does that mean something? What about this? Look how she signed her name. There's a little squiggle. Shut up. This is a bunch of high school BS. This is ridiculous. Understand that when you're listening to this, Jeff and Bill listeners, when you're listening to this, realize you're listening to a dude that is now the president of Harvard talking to a really rich, connected creeper about how to flirt with someone outside of one guy's marriage and the fact that he's mentoring this woman. The layers of creepiness and vileness is disgusting.
Is a Communist Party official.
Yeah, and they're doing this like they're freshmen in high school. Like, hey, do you think she likes me? I mean, I half expect that Larry Summers is going to come up with one of those folded paper things girls made in middle school that looks like a clam's mouth and says, here, pick a color. Red? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Here, pick a number. And he unfolds stuff on the inside and then says something stupid about you. That's what I figure he's doing. He's coming up and doing that kind of stupid thing. This is middle school and early high school behavior. And it is ridiculous to see someone at this level behave so juvenile. And this is why we need to have everything in the Epstein files, because I bet we're going to see this over and over and over again by people that we think have their stuff together.
What happened?
Yeah.
Where people email Jeffrey Epstein, who's already been charged once, is a pedophile. Like, on what planet does the former Secretary of the Treasury, president of Harvard, disclose his attempts to land an affair with a woman that he's mentoring? Like, is it just because they're really smart, dumb people, or really that they do this? That they're smart when it comes to the ability to reach the pinnacles of the most elite university in America, and then at the same time be totally obtuse when it comes to your personal life?
And the other thing that you mentioned there that just kind of sprung a thought, and I don't know if I'm correct about this or not, but it's the question of why Epstein, in his social circle, for Larry Summers in his social circle, why is Epstein the confidant? Now, I don't know one way or the other. I can't guess one way or the other. But there is a question in my mind about, did Larry Summers see Epstein around a bunch of young, beautiful women all the time?
Interesting.
Did he have any sort of a social? And again, I'm not saying anything happened as far as abuse. I'm just looking at, is there any situation in which Larry Summers would think that Jeffrey Epstein, kind of a player, maybe he's the guy that is going to help me navigate this tough thing, because he obviously has knowledge and experience. I mean, Larry Summers is dealing with a mentee, someone that came to him seeking out knowledge and experience to help guide her course. I see Larry Summers doing the same thing with Epstein. He's seeking out someone that is knowledgeable to help guide his course in order to do this. Now, do we have any information that this is leading to anything connected to any abuse or anything else? No, not at all. But I'm just saying, I have a question as to why. Clearly inappropriate, but I have a question as to why he is the confidant in all of the social circle of Larry Summers. Right. Why is Epstein the choice? Yeah, there's got to be a reason that choice was made.
Maybe I just don't know men. But
it's just weird. It's really weird.
The bragging again about
that was something happened in high school.
Weird.
That last time I heard about that was in high school. That was the last time anyone was bragging about like that stuff was in high school. So that's the juvenile behavior that I'm seeing in this too, which is shocking.
You're better at understanding Chinese women than at probability theory, Summers told Epstein. The two men bantered about probability and mathematics, but repeatedly steered the conversation back to Summers' relationship. Epstein joked that the probability of you in bed again with Peril, which is the lady that they referenced here, that's her code name, was 0, before reversing course and assuring Summers that she is never, ever going to find another Larry Summers. Probably 0.
I want to know why Larry Summers assumes that Epstein is so good at knowing what Chinese women need and think. Why? Why did Larry Summers insert that? Why is that the thing? I understand not understanding the theories, but why is the compliment about Epstein understanding women? What interactions would Larry Summers have with Jeffrey Epstein to observe that Epstein is really good at navigating and starting romantic relationships with women? What sort of experience does he have in that social setting to see this behavior? Because Larry Summers sought out Jeffrey Epstein for advice on navigating this illicit romantic affair. What did he see of value in what Jeffrey Epstein can offer, and how did he come to that opinion? I got a lot of questions about this, about what their relationship was. I'm not saying Larry Summers was involved in any abuse in any way, shape, or form. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying that I have questions about, was he in social situations where he saw Jeffrey Epstein with a variety of women for whatever reasons, and there seems to be something romantic. Like if he's rolling through women at a clip that looks like he's this swinging bachelor, of course then Larry Summers goes to him. But it does show what he saw and why he found Epstein to be the confidant.
Summers went on to describe what he saw as his best shot, that the woman finds him invaluable and interesting, and concludes she can't have it without romance or sex. Throughout June, Summers fed Epstein updates about the woman's workload and continued contract. Epstein urged him to play the long game and keep her in what he called a forced holding pattern. The final message, dated July 5th, 2019, shows Summers still in regular contact with Epstein. That morning, Summers wrote that he was in Cape Cod with his family. Bit of an Ibsen play, he joked. And the two men exchanged a brief flurry of literary one-liners. The thread ends at 1:27 p.m., and Epstein was arrested the next day. Ladies and gentlemen, the former president of Harvard, still professor.
Yeah.
Just taking a step away from his public commitment.
I hope that if you have friends or family that are writing that check to Harvard, you're super excited about the level of expertise in the classroom that they're going to be receiving based on instruction. Because this guy here, we know what he's focused on. Yeah, I know. Hope your student's not female. But again, evidently now an open season at Harvard. If they don't get rid of him, open season, because this was a mentee and he was trying to manipulate her into a romantic relationship. So evidently that's okay at Harvard now, because you can't come to the president and say, I can't fire me because I did this. Same thing you're doing, Larry. Can't fire me.
1514 texting in to Jeff. Just reading. Probability of ending up in bed with peril again. Here's the line, and this is from the Crimson.
Yeah.
Epstein joked that the probability of you in bed again with peril was 0.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Harvard's full of freaks, apparently. All right, we'll continue. Give us a call. Join the conversation, 303-696-1971, or text us at 720-819-5115. Summers has got to step away from Harvard. You as an administrator can't have a professor with those types of relationships. Look, and I understand because I used to work at the university.
Yeah.
Part of the complications that was discussed was, well, these are all adults. These are consenting adults, right?
Yeah.
So you're not getting the underage, but at the same time, why it was banned at the university I worked at was because of the power dynamic.
Exactly.
That is not fair.
Yep.
That is inappropriate. And if you engaged in this type of relationship with a student, even though everybody's consenting adults, you were dismissed.
And here's the thing. Just like in your workplace, someone that is your supervisor can exert pressure, and there's a difference in the power dynamic. That's why those types of relationships inside the workplace are often frowned upon and even sometimes end up in someone being fired. Jeff, I got to change the commercials here for a second because we've got this ad coming up for an intern, and that we can't do that. That's just awkward. Sorry. That'd be weird.
All right, let's talk advanced hair restoration. For many of us, it's happening. Your hair might be thinning, your crown disappearing. Maybe hair loss has you feeling your identity is lost altogether. Well, I got good news for you. It's an incredible yet simple one-day treatment that starts growing your own natural hair the very next day. And it's guaranteed to grow for life. It's the Advanced FUE from Advanced Hair. Look, we've all seen the pills and lotions that come with monthly subscriptions. They might help retain what you have, but what if what you want is your own natural hair permanently in specific areas? From Advanced Hair's state-of-the-art facilities to world-class Dr. Tanya Pauls, it's not maybe your hair will regrow. It's guaranteed that your new hair will grow. You decide how much, how thick, and where. I've had a number of family members get their hair done, and they look fantastic. It really does change their life. It brings back a lot of youthfulness and energy. So you got to check it out. Advanced Hair is the winner of Westward's Best of Denver. For your free consultation, $250 off and 250 free hair grafts. Call 720-459-HAIR. 720-459-HAIR. AdvancedHair.com. AdvancedHair.com. This whole saga, just another reminder why we should all live like Mike Pence. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Leader, News Talk 710, KNUS.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. Larry Summers taking a step back from his public commitments after being a total creeper. The Harvard Crimson doing a good job diving through and compiling all these emails. He's the former president of Harvard. Now currently teaches at least 3 classes and sits in a prestigious role with the Kennedy School of Government at Harvard, and used his positions, according to these emails, to basically pursue a relationship with a Chinese woman who was a professor at the London School of Economics. Dad, a member, high-ranking member of the Chinese Communist Party, but he was in a relationship with her.
Yeah. It's just, this is so
while
weird.
Married to another woman, and then discussed the relationship with Epstein. And I think this is probably what we're getting a sense of what we're going to see here.
Yeah.
So was Larry Summers boarding private jets to go have sexual encounters with minors? That's not clear yet.
No, we have no information that says that happened.
Weirdly inappropriate friendship with Jeffrey Epstein, describing efforts to pursue a sexual relationship with a mentee. Yes, you do have that.
That's the weird one. And I think that's going to be important. And I hope that everybody listening with us this morning takes this away from the conversation that Jeff and I have had this hour, is the question of why Larry Summers sought out Epstein's advice on this romantic pursuit. Why did Larry Summers view Epstein, one, as an ally in this proposal, and why was he also viewed as someone that could guide and shape how Larry Summers was trying to, and I'm going to use the word, seduce this woman that was supposed to be there for a mentee relationship where she's looking for guidance and help navigating her career, and he just wants to navigate her towards the mattress. So why was Epstein the person that he reached out to? And I think, as you pointed out, Jeff, we're going to see that over and over and over again, that these conversations are going to lead to somewhat of a romantic nature, that somehow Jeffrey is at the center of everybody stepping out on their friends and their families and their loved ones, and he's a facilitator. Yeah, I think we're going to see this.
It's just weird.
And disgusting and weird. You're right.
I mean, goodness. Lots of text messages coming in on this. Feel free to join the conversation, by the way. 303-696-1971, or text us on the Dan Caplis Law text line, 720-819-5115. And what do you think this is going to mean for Republicans? No?
Yeah. And I was actually texting back and forth with Iggy, and one of the questions I'd asked him is, does he think that we're going to get a lot of information about the Democrats, and that would be the idea that maybe that satiates the rabble, that if we find out enough about some people in power, then the crowd goes away and feels like their Epstein files hunger has been satisfied. Will that do it? And I think it's interesting because, of course, the crowd has been loudest on the MAGA side. So does that make sense then to release stuff about Democrats in order to feed the beast? And does it work? I'm not sure it works.
Lots to consider, lots to talk about. And next hour, too, are the Medicaid cost challenges we're facing in Colorado the result of Jared Polis's own laws? The answer is yes. We'll get to that and more. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's talk leader. We are News Talk 710. KNUS.